Today I had the opportunity to interview John and Margie Phelps of the Westboro Baptist Church. Here's what they had to say.
Well, we're here to preach some gospel, and the gospel for today is that God hates fags, God hates fag enablers, and therefore God hates the United States of America, especially a president whose primary campaign plank was to promote sodomy. So it's a good day for some preaching. Well, of course, he's Antichrist in two primary ways. He's a fierce advocate for killing babies, and he's a fierce advocate for fags.
Now he is completely unrestrained by the need to run for a second term. His full anti-Christicness is going to come into full bloom. You watch it happen.
If you could have a one-on-one conversation with the President of the United States and you could tell him anything that you wanted to, what would you say to him?
You're doomed, Mr. President. You're the Antichrist. And how this is going to turn out, you can read about in the book of Revelation, Mr. Beast. You're going to be dropped alive, along with your false prophet, into hell.
The church believes that they're the only ones who follow the true message of God. So what sets your church apart from the other thousands of churches in the country?
We obey God and we follow the standards of God.
And you don't believe that a single other church in the entire world obeys God?
Let me say this as plain as I can. I am 100% positive that there's not another single church in the United States of America that is following the standards of and obeying God on this day, January 21, 2013. Once the preachers stopped preaching against sin and started teaching sin, hello, can you say priests rape children? There was no moral authority left to stop the fag juggernaut.
That's a pretty big claim to say that priests rape children, to say that every priest rapes children.
What's the right number? What's the acceptable number of raping priests? Would 50% be too high? Because that's what it is. So you find that acceptable?
50% of priests in this country rape children.
You know who reported that? JFK's priest.
I guess what the public is wondering is, I've had a lot of questions about...
What the public is wondering is when they're going to get their next hookup. That's all this public is wondering.
We also discussed the recent movement to formally label the Westboro Baptist Church as a hate group. Do you consider yourself a hate group?
There's a time to hate and there's a time to love.
But the definition of a hate group is an organized group, which I consider you organized, that advocates and practices hatred towards members of a race, ethnicity, religion, or sexual orientation. Would you consider the word fags a sexual orientation, and would you consider yourself an organized group?
Well, of course, fag is a contraction of faggot, and faggot is a good Bible metaphor used to describe sodomites. And so it's perfectly proper and necessary to use that terminology to warn them about the sin that's taken them to hell. We're not only not a hate group, we are the only love group, if you will, in the nation, because notwithstanding tremendous amount of opposition and hatred generated towards us, we continue to publish this message of love. 300 and some thousand Americans were kind enough to get put our message right on his table to deal with. He now is wrestling with whether or not to answer that petition.
Do you think that he's going to answer that petition?
I doubt it. I doubt if he is. Because,
why do you doubt it?
Because there's no safe answer. He knows that what we do is a protected speech activity. He knows that if he goes down this road, it's dangerous.
So you don't think that President Obama will make the Westboro Baptist Church a hate group?
Well, no, I don't. But I hope he does, because the more he stirs up that controversy, the more publicity we get.
This has been Trey Yinks at the 2013 Inauguration.